So we're going to do the Jamez Report a little different today. I've just been thinking about this over and over and over again. So this past Sunday, everyone knows what happened, especially after watching Impact Wrestling, Impact and AEW. Rich Swann and Kenny Omega had the match, champion versus champion, something that is unheard of. You don't see very often different champions from other organizations putting the belt on the line. Now, Kenny Omega will get the win and win the Impact and the TNA World Championships. So now he's walking around with the AEW title. He's walking around with the Impact title and the TNA title. With some people, as a wrestling fan, some people may say, hey, this is a great move. This is smart. This is whatever. This is awesome. But if you listen to a lot of these wrestling legends, people like Booker T, even on Busted Open, Mark Henry was like, it's not a good idea to have Rich Swann lose that title and have Kenny Omega go on to hold all these titles. It's not good for business. It's not good. It's not a good look for Impact. Okay, and you know what? They're right. From a business perspective, that's not a great move. Yeah, they made this deal with Don Callis, and Scott, I don't know his last name, from Impact. They're working with AEW. Same with New Japan, they're working with AEW, and NWA's working with AEW. But so far, this reminds me back in the Jim Crockett days. This reminds me back when WCW, before it became big and was rivaling against WWE, and I can't remember the organization they went against, but Jim Crockett tried the same thing. Jim Crockett tried the very same thing that we're seeing here, where it had another promotion, and they was dominating. WCW was dominating the other promotion week in and week out, and that's what we're seeing now. AEW is dominating all these other organizations besides NWA, really, week in and week out. But Impact, they haven't made a splash. They haven't done nothing to make themselves even look like they're up to par with the AEW roster. And how can you sit there and try to get a fan base and want to get support from other fans and of wrestling, and you have your champion look weak and have him get beat? And I don't care what you say, when you get beat and you lose your title, that you might say, well, Rich Swann put on a great show, and maybe he did. Yeah, he did. But you don't have a champion now. He's your franchise player. Now you have it on Kenny Omega, who, by the way, identifies as AEW. He's on the AEW roster. So you got another man winning your title from a different roster, and he won it cleanly. And when I say cleanly, I mean he won it. 1, 2, 3, he won it. That's bad business. It's not a smart move. It's not a good look. It makes your organization look weak. And as a fan, yeah, it's that unpredictability. But WCW, listen to Eric Bischoff's podcast, 83 Weeks, he's saying that's what WCW did for so long. And in hindsight, maybe it wasn't that great of an idea, because there was an instance where he had Ric Flair lose the title to the Giant, which is also known as the Big Show, which is also known as Paul White now on AEW. And, Conrad Thompson asked, well, what was the reasoning behind that? And Eric Bischoff just said, well, because it was unpredictable. Fans didn't see it coming. There was no rhyme or reason. And, that stuff works. Yes, you need unpredictability. Yes, you need that to happen. But you don't want that. But there's a time to do it, and there's a time you don't do it. And, hey, hats off to AEW that they are winning, that they are getting the better views and the better look. Maybe Impact's trying to get that rub. Booker T was talking on his podcast, about which his podcast is the Hall of Fame, and with Brad Gilmore, and he said, Impact, it was TNA, I think at the time, they went down to Reality of Wrestling and kind of gave Reality Wrestling a rub, and they had a champion versus champion match. The Reality Wrestling champion versus the Impact Wrestling champion at the time, which I can't remember if it was, I don't think it was Rich Swann, but it might have been at the time. So if someone watched that show, put it on there. But that's the thing. Booker T said, it was an all-out brawl, so there was no winner. And that's what they should have done. They should have had Impact come out there and make a stand, say, hey, Rich Swan's getting beat. We can't lose our title. We're going to go out there and we're going to have an all-out brawl. And you think about when Vince McMahon and the invasion angle that he did, WCW looked really, really weak. The guys that came from ECW, WCW, they didn't look that strong, even with the helps of Steve Austin on the side. So that's what we're seeing. We're seeing this is not a good business move by Impact at all. I know I might be a little weak on a little late on this video. And if you have been watching this whole time, hit that like and hit that subscribe button and let me know what you think in the comments below. But man, Impact's really got to figure out what they're doing, because right now they're looking a lot more indie-ish than they were where they once was. And I know they're trying to reimagine themselves and reinvent themselves, but you don't do it by losing both your titles. I mean, if which one wanted to lose if which one would have lost the Impact title, that's one thing, but to lose both the TNA and the Impact title, come on now, you got, yeah, that's not. I'm sorry, I'm just being brutally honest with everybody right now, and I know people probably won't agree with it, and I'm not hating on Kenny Omega by any means. Hats off to him. I'm sure he didn't go in there saying, hey, I'm only going to do this if I'm going to win the title. Don Callis is in charge of Impact, so maybe that's the whole idea. But at this point, you almost think that Impact is going to absorb, not Impact, I'm sorry, that AEW is going to absorb Impact and that make Impact like the third show or fourth show for another night. That all being said, not a good business move. Not at all.